So we can still look for that. Then, Minister of Petroleum, my question is just one. Why is Dangote buying crude from US to be able to refine in Nigeria when we are talking about local, where to sell our crude and then about local content? It suggests that if Dangote buys from US, he's going to produce and sell to us at dollar rate. And that has not solved our problem. So, you may say NNPC, but NNPC, they are supposed to be under you. And we are still having issues about having petroleum. The refineries are still not working. The filling stations, we still have queues. The prices are still fluctuating. So what can you do to have stability in that sector, sir? Thank you.
Okay, let's have from this segment. Okay, madam, you seem to be the only person there. Okay, and you, madam.
Thanks you again. I am Princess Ekuya Judo of the Anambra Broadcasting Service. My number one question will be for the Minister of Youth. You said something about 110 billion youth capital investment. But you didn't tell us how youths will key in, because I'm sure some of my brothers will want to key in. So tell us that. Then for the Minister of Petroleum, it is on record that subsidy is no more. But on the streets, we hear that we still pay subsidy. Can you clarify? Thank you.
Let's have the lady there.
Good afternoon, Your Excellencies. My name is Ujunwa Okonkwo. I report for Voice of Nigeria. My first question goes to the Minister of Youth. You made mention of 300,000 and 700,000 jobs for the youth. You know, the reason for insecurity much in Nigeria is because of lack of no job. No job for the youth. No job for the graduates. Intelligent graduates that graduated from universities after youth service, no job. How do you intend to do this to get down to the grassroots? Because a lot of them are there in the villages, wallowing in hunger and engaging into insecurity. The next question goes to my brother, the Honorable Minister of Steel. The partnership you talked about, I want to know how long the 2% that is left, how long this will come to be, because from the last administration, when the Russians came, we were told that they are going to complete everything that has to do with Ajokuta Steel Complex. Till now, it has not been completed. And a lot of things has gone down the drain in that complex. Please, how long will this be? Then to my Honorable Minister for Petroleum, the petroleum oil, Senator Heneke Lopobri, you talked about calming down the Avengers in the oil producing states. Remember, you calm them down that time, and whatever they use, the government used to calm them down. As long as they are not fully engaged into doing something constantly, consistently, that will give them leverage or money or whatever to take them away from coming back, they will still come back to fight. Still go down to insecurity. Please, sir, whatever we know that we do to engage our youth, our graduates, this is the root cause of insecurity in Nigeria, lack of no job. Thank you.
Okay, let's have just one person more so that we can take the questions and proceed. There's one person more so that we can have complete 3 questions.
Good morning, everybody. Please, I am from Benjamin Umutemi, Blueprint Newspapers. I just want to know from the Minister of State Petroleum Oil. Please, I want to know, he did talk about oil wells that are dormant. Can he be specific about the number of oil wells that are still dormant? And also, about the issue of bringing peace to the Niger Delta, I think it will be better for him to really, the minister should be able to sit down with the security agencies, because that is very fundamental in whatever they do. Because I've been there severally and I saw what went down there, and without the cooperation of the security agencies, we might still continue to shout oil theft and what have you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We would like to take responses by the Honorable Ministers of Youth Development first, and then Steel, and then we come back to Petroleum Resources. Okay.
Good afternoon once again, everyone. The question from Madam Princess, I believe. Yes, thank you very much for that question. The 110 billion naira that was approved for the 2024 fiscal year of the Nigeria Youth Investment Fund, the restructured Nigeria Youth Investment Fund. Well, how do young people key in? Well, the first phase is, like I said in my presentation earlier, that we reviewed the fund and we ascertained that the most practical way and the most impactful way to disburse the fund is first to cluster young people with the purpose of developing enterprise in priority sectors, such as the blue economy, green economy, the creative sector, the digital economy, space, agriculture. So these are priority sectors of the economy. And of course, the extractive, like the mining sector as well. So it's only when we cluster young people that we can leverage on economics of scale and also leverage on commodities of comparative advantage. That way, government investments will translate to greater impact. If we have, for instance, 5,000 young people clustered in a particular location. And this also speaks to how the grassroots can also be impacted by this initiative. A lot of our grassroots have vast land for agricultural initiatives, for agricultural practices rather. And at this grassroots, if we engage a number of young people, say 5,000 to 10,000 young people, lay the necessary infrastructure for them to start to cultivate, add value, there will be jobs created across value chains of commodities of comparative advantage or competitive advantage for all geopolitical zones. And this will also go a long way to curb rural-urban migration, like we said earlier, that a lot of people want to migrate from the rural areas to come to the cities, and they come to the cities and they might not even find jobs. So we are settled with the responsibility of developing and promoting enterprise for young people, to be a catalyst while you're making young people at the core, the catalyst of economic development. So this will be driven to the grassroots. This goes a long way to respond to the two questions. On that note, I hope I have done justice to your question, madams. Thank you very much.
May I at this point invite the Honorable Minister for Steel Development, Prince Shoaib, to come and make responses to these questions.
Thank you very much. I believe I had about 3 or 4 questions, and I would attempt to answer those questions. The first gentleman raised the question around Ajokuta Steel being 98% complete. So I just wanted to provide quick perspective on that. Ajokuta Steel Complex was 98% completed in 1994, which was about 30 years ago. Now, since then, there's been a lot of false starts in terms of trying to get the plant working, trying to get the plant concessioned to a technical partner that has the expertise. That hasn't panned out according to plan because some of the terms of the agreements in which it was done was not in the best interest of Nigeria. And therefore, the plant is unlikely to be 98% complete as at today, if nothing has been done over the last 30 years. Part of what we have to do is to, once we are done engaging these counterparties with all the relevant and technical expertise, they will do a technical audit that would advise us what stage of completion the plant is in and what it will take to finish up the job. In terms of why do we continue to leverage on foreign assistance, again, just to provide some perspective and some color around what is going on in the steel industry, there's about $4 billion worth of steel that is being imported into Nigeria on an annual basis. What that means is that if our local steel producers are able to meet the demand or produce the required standards and qualities, then that amount would have been significantly lower. There are a lot of local indigenous players that are doing fantastically well, but we have a long way to go, broadly speaking, in the steel industry. We still need a lot of technical expertise. Some of the equipments for the government-owned steel plants are in foreign languages. Interpretation is always going to be a challenge, and converting that to English requires some level of expertise. And why are we not looking at Nigerian companies? Like I mentioned during my presentation, based on what technical experts have adduced and what they have seen and recommended, we need a minimum of $2 billion to revive Ajokuta. I would say that local players don't have that kind of money. It's a significant amount of money. We're talking 3 trillion naira. It's a huge amount of money. Even if you try to raise it from local banks or local financial institutions, you struggle significantly. Hence why we're partnering with foreign companies. However, the foreign companies that we're partnering with would also have some Nigeria component in them. So the guys that we're talking to, are forming a consortium with, Nigerian companies, or there's a Nigerian component in there. And then lastly, the 2% that is left for completion, how long would it take to be completed? I think Princess asked that, and I think I had answered it earlier. It was 98% complete in 1994. Today is significantly lower. A lot of work is required to get it up and running. It's a challenging industry, and the task at hand is significant and is difficult. But is it doable? The answer is yes. Has the president showed commitment? The answer is yes. And no other commitment can be bigger than the creation of the Ministry of Steel Development to show intent and to show political will. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister of Steel. May I at this moment invite distinguished Senator Lopobri to respond to questions that were just asked.
Thank you. The first question has to do with whether Dangote is importing crude from the US. Let me say categorically that I'm not aware that Dangote has started importing crude from the US. What I do know is that if we do not have crude enough to supply Dangote refinery and the refineries were rehabilitating together with the modular refinery, they have to get feedstock from somewhere. That is inevitable. But as at today, I'm not aware that Dangote is importing crude from the US. And that's the reason why we're talking about increasing production. And that's why we're bringing back the service companies to come back and start drilling. That's why I'm also telling you that, look, today or yesterday, a company told me of a drilling program of over 100 wells. The only way we can increase production is to continue drilling. And in the past 12 years, that didn't happen. But it has started happening in significant numbers under this administration. So I can assure you that there will be no basis for anybody to import crude because we'll be able to supply the feedstock for all the refineries that are located in Nigeria. If we see queues in fuel filling stations, that doesn't mean there's any scarcity. Fuel is cheaper in the NNPC filling stations. And so when you are driving and you see queues in some filling stations, it's not as if there's any scarcity. But the price between, what PMS is sold in the NNPC filling stations and the ones owned by IPMA members is made between the neighborhood of 60 to 80 naira per liter. And so some people may prefer to go and queue under the NNPC filling stations to buy at a cheaper rate. That doesn't mean there's any fuel scarcity. This is the one government that has been able to ensure that there is sustainability in the supply chain, particularly, for PMS. You can recall that before now, it was a perennial problem. Every year, you will see during the festive period in December, there will always be queues. But journalists asked you, go and investigate. Last year, there were no queues in this country for the first time. That happened not by accident. It was because of deliberate effort made by this government to ensure that there is product affordability and availability. That is in respect of that. On the issue of whether there is subsidy or not, I think that all of us in Nigeria know that from the very first day the president, took out of office, he said subsidy is gone. And I can confirm to you today that subsidy is gone. But the point must be made that look, all over the world, government finds a way to subsidize, maybe not fuel, but agro products. Are we not subsidizing food? We are finding a way to subsidize seed supply. We are finding a way to subsidize, fertilizer supply. There is some way. There's no responsible government that will not find, one way or another to be able to, ameliorate the sufferings of our people. But officially, there's no subsidy. Government is not paying subsidy. So please, I want that officially clear that there's no subsidy, in the country as of today. Somebody talked about, peace in the Niger Delta. Peace in the Niger Delta is as a result of collaboration between the security agencies and those of us in the ministry and other stakeholders, including the industry players. All of us are on one accord, working tirelessly to ensure that we work together to ensure that we sustain the peace for the oil and gas companies to operate in the Niger Delta region. Somebody asked a question about the number of oil wells. There are thousands of oil wells. I cannot stand here and tell you how many thousands of oil wells are shutting. But the problem we have is that bulk of our oil wells are not producing. And what we are doing is to ensure that we'll bring them back to production so that we can increase the number of barrels that we can produce per day. I hope I've been able to answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Before you make your gentlemen of the press, let me once again thank you for your patience. And I had mentioned earlier on that this is going to be a bumper edition. I know that you have to make choices about which news to lead with today or tomorrow. But I crave your indulgence to be a little bit more patient. We have the Honorable Minister of Solid Minerals here. He's going to be the next one. And then we have the Minister of Defense, the Minister and the Minister of State Defense, together with the Chief of Defense Staff, already in the waiting room. So they'll also come here. But I assure you that once they come, in another 1 hour or so, we should be done for the day. So I crave your indulgence to please be a little bit more patient. We have chosen not to go on break, but to continue, and we'll soon be done. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Very distinguished guests, members of the media. Members of the media, permit me at this time to invite to the microphone for his presentation the Honorable Minister.
Government finds a way to subsidize, maybe not fuel, but agro products. Are we not subsidizing food? We are finding a way to subsidize seed supply. We are finding a way to subsidize, fertilizer supply. There is some way. There's no responsible government that will not find, one way or another to be able to, ameliorate the sufferings of our people. But officially, there's a subsidy. Government is not paying subsidy. So please, I want that officially clear that there's no subsidy, in the country. One accord, working tirelessly to ensure that we work together to ensure that we sustain the peace for the oil and gas companies to operate in the Niger Delta region. Somebody asked a question about the number of oil wells. There are thousands of oil wells. I cannot stand here and tell you how many thousands of oil wells are shutting. But the problem we have is that bulk of our oil wells are not producing. And what we are doing is to ensure that we bring them back to production so that we can increase the number of barrels that we can produce per day. I hope I've been able to answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Before you make your gentlemen of the press, let me once again thank you for your patience. And I had mentioned earlier on that this is going to be a bumper edition. I know that you have to make choices about which news to lead with today or tomorrow. But I crave your indulgence to be a little bit more patient. We have the Honorable Minister of Solid Minerals here. He's going to be the next one. And then we have the Minister of Defense, the Minister and the Minister of State Defense, together with the Chief of Defense Staff, already in the waiting room. So they'll also come here. But I assure you that once they come, in another 1 hour or so, we should be done for the day. So I crave your indulgence to please be a little bit more patient. We have chosen not to go on break, but to continue, and we'll soon be done. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Very distinguished guests, members of the media. Members of the media, permit me at this time to...
Revenue that are accrued to us from the oil sector. And how did we fail to utilize that? We failed to utilize the humongous amount of petrol.
Henry Dele Alake. Please, a round of applause for him as it comes to the
natural economy in other sectors. And one of the natural economy in other sectors. And one of them is the solid mineral sector. And agriculture as well. In other climes, the monies that the revenue flowed in from oil, revenues were also flowing in from these other critical sectors. But our story was not like that. However, as we say in our own climb, the past is history. The future is a golden era that we are foretelling. So therefore, since May 29th last year, on the resumption of our president, there has been a major plank of the renewed hope agenda, which is contingent on the diversification of the economy away from oil. And in any case, the reasons are not far-fetched because the whole world is moving away anyway, gradually from oil, because I'm sure you all know what is called global warming. Global warming is caused by the energy sources that we use in the world, of which oil, petroleum, is a critical element. Now, all of these energy sources are being gradually de-emphasized so that the world is moving towards green energy. And what are these energy sources for green energy? They are critical metals, minerals, solid minerals. And Nigeria is so blessed to have an abundance of these solid minerals underground in our country. And that is why the president made the diversification of the economy a critical plank of his renewed hope agenda. And then in August, we came in as a cabinet, and I was assigned the responsibility of ensuring the diversification of the Nigerian economy into the critical metal sector. So therefore, it is my pleasure today to present to you the modest but impactful achievements that the Renewed Hope Manifesto of the President and our party, APC, recorded in the solid mineral sector, which I superintend over as a minister. Now, first of all, I need to reel out to you the role and mandates of the ministry, critical sectors of the economy, such that as revenue flowed in from oil, revenues were also flowing in from these other critical sectors. But our story was not like that. However, as we say in our own climb, the past is history. The future is a golden era that we are foretelling. So therefore, since May 29th last year, on the resumption of our president, there has been a major plank of the Renewed Hope agenda, which is contingent on the diversification of the economy away from oil, to ensure safety and security in the sector through strict monitoring of movement and usage of explosives. In operationalizing the manifesto, the president identified 8 key areas, and these areas were issued by the office of the SGF. With its vision on the diversification of the economy as a guiding principle, our ministry was identified as a critical machinery for achieving priority in this very, very important sector. We are to unlock the energy and natural resources of this country for sustainable development. Now, given the aforementioned, on assumption of duty, I assembled my team, and after receiving briefings from all departments, all agencies, and having an overview, I came up, my team and I rolled out a 7-point agenda, which would help us in actualizing the mandate of the Renewed Hope agenda as it concerns the solid mineral sector. The appointment, or my appointment, provided a historic opportunity to participate in the strategic conversations on how best and how far our new administration could redeem the promises of renewed hope that the Nigerian people voted for. If you recall, after the swearing in of Mr. President last year, May 29th, a few days later in June, I was appointed the special advisor on special duties, communications, and strategy. And it was during this period that we held very critical conversations amongst the very powerful policy makers in the country, in the administration, and fashioned out the various manifestos for each ministry, and then decided and designed the structure of government as we have today. And that was what led to my assuming the saddle of leadership in the ministry. It was therefore in the course of discussions that it became very clear to us that in unlocking the wealth underground, we had, or the president rather, had to look critically at the choices of people to give this responsibility. The person to assume office had to have certain criteria: character, integrity, credibility, and the passion and a sense of mission that is necessary. So, in rolling out my 7-point agenda, one on their list is the establishment of the Nigerian Solid Minerals Company. You can call it a corporation or a company, but it's Nigerian Solid Minerals Company. Now, this company is to engage in joint venture partnerships with the big players in the solid minerals sector on behalf of Nigeria. We had something like that years back, but it went defunct. So we are revitalizing that instrument because it is very, very important. I will go into the details of that later. The second item on the agenda is gathering of big data. Now, without the gathering of data, geoscientific data in the solid mineral sector, you cannot talk of attracting investment, whether local or foreign investment. Because any investor wants an efficient data, and the data is information about the type of minerals, the volume of minerals, where they are, the tenure or the longevity of the minerals. These are critical information that any investor anywhere in the world requires to make an informed judgment, investment decisions. So, gathering of the big data now forms a critical item on our 7-point agenda. Another one is to promote international investment, and another one which I mentioned earlier is the joint venture partnerships with mining multinationals. And then, of course, the fifth, securing the investment environment with mine surveillance police, and of course, injection of large dosage of technology. And sixth, formalization of artisanal miners into cooperatives. And seven, the socio-economic development of the mining communities. And this, I will go to later, has been a recurring decimal in the architecture of insecurity in the solid mineral sector. So combating illegal operations, illegal mining, banditry, terrorism, kidnapping, and all sorts of nefarious activities associated with the sector became a sine qua non for the success and development of this sector. I will go into the details. Number one, the establishment of the Nigerian Solid Minerals Company. Our ministry initiated the necessary legislative framework for the establishment of the Nigerian Solid Minerals Development Company through the proposal seeking budgetary provision for approval in the 2024 budget. The ministry is grateful, therefore, to the committees on solid minerals, both in the House of Reps and in the Senate, for their unalloyed support in ensuring that our legislative framework is fast-tracked. In February this year, the House Committee on Solid Minerals organized a policy dialogue on the draft bill to set up this minerals company. This 3-day robust discourse shed more light on the vision and mission of the NMCDC as a private sector-driven corporation that will be structured to have not more than 25% of federal government shares, 25% to the Nigerian public, and 50% to the private sector. Now, this is very significant. This company we are proposing for this sector is ostensibly or superficially to look like NNPC, because NNPC is intervening on behalf of the government. So this proposed company is to intervene in the solid mineral sector on behalf of the Nigerian government. However, that's where the similarity ends. The structure, the equity structure of our own proposed company is vastly different. Our equity structure is to make it substantially owned and driven by the private sector, so that we can leave an enduring structure in place, an enduring legacy for future governments coming after us, such that no government after us will be able to exert any political influence in terms of the managerial efficiency and proficiency of running that company. And that is why we are ensuring that 50% of equity will go to the private sector, 25% to the federal government of Nigeria, and 25% to members of the public. Anybody who desires to own shares. Now, this company, as I speak here, is in the process of maturity, and in due course, I will have the honor and privilege of announcing to you that that company has been fully established and is on stream. We have the mining cadastral office, which is really in charge of licensing of applications in the mining sector. Now, the MCO, we call it the MCO, is mandated to administer the issuance of mining license, and it has been repositioned in the last 12 months since we came in to increase its revenue generation capacity. The EMC Plus application portal, or a software, has been modified to cope with the new challenges. The modifications include completion of recording and archiving mineral title documents, completion of acquisition, geomining, referencing, cadastral centers, and so many. Time will not permit me to reel out the so many initiatives that we have put in place in the licensing of applications to make it easier for applicants, and of course to enhance the ease of doing business in the sector. Only a week ago, I unveiled the DSS, the decision support platform of the ministry, which means from anywhere in the world, not in Nigeria, anywhere on the planet, you can, at a click of a button on your device, see all the information that you require to help you or enable you make investment decision in Nigeria's solid mineral sector. That support system was unveiled last week by me. The efforts to sanitize the operations led to 2 revocation exercises, because one of the critical items on the agenda is to sanitize the operating environment of the solid mineral sector in Nigeria. And towards this end, we discovered on assumption of office that we had a number of people, Nigerians or non-Nigerians, holding titles and failed to remit the normal civic obligations to government, like paying their royalties, paying their taxes, paying their fees, even renewal fees, annual renewal fees, that are as little as 200,000 naira, whereas these people were making away with billions from the Nigerian economy. So that led me into revoking 1,619 licenses by November last year, to send a strong signal that there is a new sheriff in town. It can no longer be business as usual. We are sanitizing the operating environment of the solid mineral sector to enable it assume its pride of place in contributing significantly to the GDP of this country. So we weeded off over 1,600 licenses of operators who failed to meet their obligations to government. Again, just about a few weeks ago, I also had cause to revoke another set of over 900 licenses that had been dormant. Some people applied and got approval for licenses and kept the licenses. Some speculated with the licenses, took money from financial institutions, did not go into the operations of the mining, but used the monies for other things. So I revoked over 900 of such a few weeks ago. These were efforts to sanitize the operating environment of the sector. And believe me, since we did that, more serious investors are coming into the sector, both local and foreign. And at the last count, we had about almost 10,000 applications since we assumed office. Fresh applications. And we've approved over 4,000 of such, which means there is a quantum leap in the investment that is coming into the sector, invariably generating more revenue into the coffers of the Nigerian government. I'm told that time is up, but I have a legion of statistics and data to reel out to you, to show you in concrete terms, in empirical formula or format, that there has been a remarkable increase and success of our efforts in all ramifications. One, we have succeeded in opening up this sector, both locally and internationally, that even we raise the consciousness of the average Nigerian to the economic potentialities of the solid mineral sector. Today, unlike a year ago, I receive, and most of my staff receives, video clips from members of the Nigerian public telling us that there is a truck carrying minerals from one location to the other. This is a testimony to the consciousness of Nigerians, which was not there a year ago, because of our aggressive marketing, and riveting attention, national and international, onto this sector. Now, again, our marketing of our 7-point agenda internationally has started to resonate. In Riyadh, early this year, I went there with my team to the Future Minerals Conference and presented Nigeria's 7-point agenda for sustainable development in the solid mineral sector. And one of the very significant items of that paper I presented is the issue of local value addition. I made a passionate case there that no more will we allow anybody to cut away our raw minerals out of Nigeria without processing, without refining, without local value addition, without multiplier effect to the economy. And when I presented that in Riyadh, all the African ministers of minerals there became so excited and therefore formed the African Mineral Strategy Group and immediately elected me, Nigeria, as the interim chairman or pro-tem chairman of that body. So that shows you the proficiency and efficacy of our policy initiatives in opening up the sector, such that it's no longer even restricted to the confines of Nigeria, but is resonating all over Africa. And today, as the chairman of the African Mineral Strategy Group, all our plans and programs are being replicated in other African countries. Lately, in South Africa, in Cape Town, I was at the Indaba conference, mining conference. You know, South Africa is a long mining country, and they deal with mining, almost over a century before us. However, given the efficacy of our own plans, the president of South Africa said it on stage that they were copying the Community Development Agreement of Nigeria, and they were copying it in South Africa. And this is something that we reeled out and redirected and reviewed and unveiled just about 2-3 months ago. So, ladies and gentlemen, there are so many things I need to tell you, but I'm being prompted to go and sit down. So I will wait for your question and answers to elucidate further. Thank you very much.
As the Honorable Minister went on and on, all you could see was the passion behind his voice. Can we please give a round of applause to the Honorable Minister once again? Thank you very much, sir. While the Honorable Minister of Solid Minerals was making his presentation, the Minister of Defense, Honorable Mohammed Badaru Abubakar, CEO MNI, stepped into the building. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you for coming. Also, we had the Minister of State Defense, Honorable Bello Matawale, come into the hall. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you for joining us. We have the Chief of Defense Staff, General C.G. Musa, in the house. Please, a round of applause for him. And we have the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Defense, Dr. Abubakar Ibrahim Kana, MNI. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you for coming. With that being said, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to appreciate you for your time so far. Next up is the Honorable Minister of Defense to give us his presentation. Please put your hands together for Honorable Mohammed Badaru Abubakar, CON-MNI. Please, a round of applause for the Honorable Minister of Defense.
Thank you very much. I thought we will have enough time, but because of the 20 minutes, 30 minutes limit, I will just go straight to the issues. First and foremost, for every security operation to be successful, there must be collaboration and jointness. That is what we lacked before. But the renewed hope agenda brought all the security agencies and agencies that have to do with security together and create synergy among the security agencies. And that helped greatly in the operations that we do. The Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Naval Staff, and the Chief of Air Staff are working together day and night as against what used to be. And that was hampering productivity and efficiency in operation. This was achieved in a very short time. But we really have to thank President for his choice of the officers manning security agencies in the country. In addition to the military, we have close collaboration with the Office of the National Security Advisor, the police, the civil defense, and all other military, paramilitary, and security enhancing agencies. This has translated to tremendous progress during this last 1 year in view. You will all agree with me. Those from Borno, they have enjoyed their Salah, the last Salah, freely. Those in Zamfara, most part are calm when compared to the previous issues that are there. And in this time, because of the synergy, we were able to neutralize more than 9,300 bandits and insurgents. About 7,000 arrested, while we rescued 4,641 victims of kidnapping. That is in just 1 year. We have also arrested 4,882 assorted weapons and 83,900 assorted ammunition just in 1 year. And among those that we neutralize are bandits that we hear, are bandits commanders that command hundreds of foot soldiers. The names like Ali Kawaji, you all know him. It's been neutralized. Notorious Damina has been neutralized. Isiaku Bateri, neutralized. Bello Dangote, Osani Dangote, neutralized. And host of lot of others. We have neutralized no less than 20 commanders that command armies of insurgents and terrorists just in 1 year. And again, in our effort to improve the production of crude oil, which I'm sure the Minister of State Petroleum has explained the increase that we have in the production of crude oil. We were able to arrest 1,437 people, 363 neutralized, and we have freed in the Niger Delta 245 captives, those that are hostages. We destroyed 3,051 dog feet for illegal crude production. We destroyed 1,276 boats, 3,924 storage facilities, arrested and destroyed 408 vehicles, and 2,716 cooking ovens. So most of the illegal refineries are down now. And in addition, major vessels have been arrested. Vessels like Sweet Harbor Spirit, MT Senel, MB Tokito, and many others. And this has helped greatly to improve our crude oil production. And this is because of the synergy that President Bola Tinubu enjoined us to work together to deliver and end insecurity. And we have been also working with regional security agencies and countries around us to improve the security situation. For instance, as of today, we are conducting Operation Desert Sanity 3 and Lake Sanity 2 with the Republic of Chad, Cameroon, and some representative from the Benin Republic. And this shows how we collaborate with neighboring states to fight insurgency. And in addition, we have arrested in conjunction with those countries many terrorists and many weapons and drug traffickers. I'm sure you have seen a lot in the news. This shows the collaboration that we have between our neighboring countries as being efficient and helping us to reduce the influx of small arms and light weapons. President also supported the troops to enhance their capacity. You are all aware, because it was news then, the 2023 supplementary budgets that have seen huge allocation to the Ministry of Defense, thanks to Mr. President. That has helped us procure and upgraded a lot of our equipments. Time will not permit me to rail them out. But that has also enhanced our efficiency and has boosted the troop morales. You're also aware that the President signed the DICOM bill that help us to produce locally what we need in the fight of insurgency and criminality in this country. We have seen discussions around the production of weapons, and we are in talks with more than 50 private companies in Nigeria and abroad that are interested in producing weapons. And 13 out of them have already started production or about to start production. We know April, for example, in Lagos, they have started the assembly and production of armored carriers, safety equipments, radios, and others. Also, Proforce in Ogun are producing armor carriers, and they are investing heavily in the production of drones, and they are on the testing mode now. So many of them are doing just what the DICOM bill dictates. And I believe before the year runs out, we'll be able to launch the DICOM that will see to the production of all military and paramilitary uniforms in the country. Effort is put in place in DICOM also to synergize with universities for research and development so that we can produce much more. And still, in the period under review, our production line that has not been operating for years, have started operation for this production of small caliber ammunitions. We are currently producing, and more factories for the production of arms and ammunitions are coming in the next 1 year. In the personnel welfare, because to have the spirit to fight and also keep their morale, the president have supported the armed forces with a lot of welfare packages. Their salaries and allowances are paid as and when due. They are being funded adequately to take care of the troops out there, and also to provide for their accommodation and to provide for their training. And that has helped us to boost the morale of our troops heavily. And in the period under review, we believe that security is a whole society issue. So it has to have a whole society approach. And that is translated in the Renewed Hope agenda, because all the deliverables are linked to enhancing security, taking care of people's welfare so that we reduce the incidences of insecurity. And that has been happening. So we have close collaboration with Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Humanitarian, other service agencies that provide for the welfare of the people. So that we target those areas that have suffered and see how we can help and support their livelihood. And we have been having meetings also all around the country to involve the community, to take ownership of the security, to give us information, to pass intelligence, to deprive the bandits and terrorists from taking over our country. And I'm happy to say we are getting good response from the people. All these bandits and the successes that we have, most of the informations come from the security, from the community. And we are doing a lot, meeting with the clergies, the traditional institution, the civil society organization, and of course, individual communities to support us so that the whole society approach in tackling security can be achieved. The road ahead, I want to assure you, we'll continue to pursue them and we'll continue to work diligently until we end this thing in no distant future. Because the instruction from Mr. President is always, when are you going to end this thing? And we keep telling him, in no distance future, we will end it. We have the equipments, we have the personnel, their morale is boosted, and the community are supporting now. And we will continue to push and target those that will repent by Boko Haram and Aswam. And we expect to see more. So those that surrender, we take them. Those that refuse to surrender, we fight them and fight them hard. One question you will ask, why are these attacks coming? But I think most of you that lives in the riverine areas, in the villages, and these attacks happen around local governments that have forests. These people run and hide in the forest, come out on motorcycle, attack a community, and run back. But we are deploying technology today so that we can see them coming and take care of them before they attack our people. And that is in place, and we will continue to fight, and we will continue to deliver. And I assure you, the successes that we have enjoyed in the last 1 year will be replicated, and we will do more in the next year, because even the recruitment has improved for the armed forces. So we are continuing to recruit more and more so that we will end the insecurity in this country. Both our sister agencies are recruiting: civil defense, police, then the military. And President has approved that we recruit so that we improve the boots on the ground, and also deploy technology heavily so that we can end the insurgency. What I want to assure you is that the successes we had in the last 1 year, we will do more, and we will continue to fight, and we will end this thing in no distant future. I want to stop. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'll take questions from the media. We'll take, for this session, we'll take 4 questions at this trench. So can we just show our hand? Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. The woman on brown. Do I have a 4th person? Number 4.
Good day all. My name is Amadine Uyi. I'm with New Central Television. My question goes to the Minister of Solid Minerals. Connected questions. I'll start with you talked about mineral mapping. And we know that without an extensive mineral mapping, Nigeria's solid mineral sector cannot kick off. Unfortunately, this has been talked right from the time of President Olusegun Obasanjo. We are glad that you have said that the ministry is taking this as a priority because of government's willingness and a hunger to take advantage of the mineral sector. But my worry is, we know this will cost millions of dollars. It's not something that can be done in 6 months or 1 year or one budget cycle. I want to know how the ministry intends to solve this problem, the problem of funding for the mineral mapping. Then it leads me to the second question. We know that just like in the oil and gas sector, where when you are drilling for petroleum, a lot of time crude oil comes with associated gas. And because Nigeria does not have a solid mineral mapping, we know that most of the times minerals are mined. You might be mining for lithium. There are other associated minerals that form with lithium. And without a mineral mapping, the country is left at the hands of the miners, who most of the time do not declare to the federal government that while mining for tin, they come across these other minerals. I want to know how the ministry intends to solve this problem, because it is the root cause of the problem that has to do with smuggling of other associated minerals outside the country. Then finally, in preventing what has happened in the Niger Delta region, the mistakes Nigeria made in oil, over the last few years, we have found out that mining companies that go to mine these solid minerals do not have a valid or authentic environmental impact assessment. Therefore, the dangers fall on the community. Just like the Pfizer case in Kano, there are reported cases of communities suffering from health challenges because of these miners. And because of that, we want to know how the ministry intends to stand up for the rights of host communities to see that they are protected from not just illegal miners, but miners that have valid licenses but do not put the health implications of communities first. Thank you very much.
Hello, excuse me. Gentlemen of the press, your attention here, please. Gentlemen of the press, please pay attention here. The ushers, hello, ushers, please stop that distribution. We will soon be done, and then you can continue your distribution of light refreshment. Actually, when the bags were coming in, people were wondering what we have in those Ghana must go bags. So I think they wanted to be as transparent as possible, but it's also creating some noise and some chaos around us. I implore you to please hold on. We'll be done after the question and answer session, and then you can distribute whatever is there in the Ghana must go bags. But I know that what we have there is light refreshment. Light refreshment, nothing more than that. Thank you very much.
Something light. Question number 2.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Ministers. My name is Dr. Emmanuel Anule. I work with AFP. I just want to find out from the Minister of Defense that following the final withdrawal of the French troop in Niger last year, December, there have been these general concerns about what a potential gap this will provide in terms of fighting insecurity within the Sahel region. I just want to find out from the Minister of Defense, is Nigeria also concerned about this, the withdrawal of these troops regarding its collaboration with sister nations around this region to tackle insecurity? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Question number 3, the lady on brown.
Good afternoon, Honorable Ministers. My name is Juliana Taiwo Balonye of the Sun newspapers. My question goes to the Minister of Defense. I would like you to help me understand how Nigeria intends to tackle climate change, environmental degradation, and at the same time, you are destroying crude oil theft, the boats. I want you to help me understand that. What is the implication? What does it take to keep this crude? It's stolen, it's recovered. Why destroy them? Thank you.
Now, question number 4 there. Can we quickly move the mic? Your name, your media organization, then your question.
Honorable Ministers, my name is Adebayo Bodorin from AIT Ray Power. My question goes to the Minister of Solid Minerals. There has been reports about insecurity being fueled as a result of mining in some parts of Africa, and Nigeria is also not an exception. So I'm asking, what effort is being taken to ensure security from the mining sites, at the mining sites, and also in ensuring that those who are fueling insecurity as a result of illegal mining are brought to book? And like the way they have been, the report has been going, is that these people are operating like the drug cartels in different parts of the world. And so they not only fuel insecurity, they will also do everything possible, including elimination of lives, in order for them to sustain their illegal activities. And therefore I ask, Honorable Minister, are you safe?
All right, thank you very much. Before we get to responses from the Honorable Ministers, may I quickly announce that we have in our midst the Permanent Secretary, General Services Office of the Secretary of Government of the Federation. He is also the head of the Interministerial Committee Secretariat. Please, let's welcome Dr. Nnamdi Maurice Mberi, OON. Please, can we put hands together for him?
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister, you may wish to respond to the questions.
Thank you very much for those very pungent and succinct questions and direct. The first one is in relation to the big data gathering, which our friend over there asked. If you recall, in my preambles, I did mention that one of the critical items of my 7-point agenda is big data gathering. And I gave the reasons that if you are serious about attracting investment into the sector, into the solid mineral sector, you must have efficient data, because it's the efficient data that investors will use to make an informed investment decision. And like you've rightly pointed out, it's very expensive business. Generating data is not just generating any data. Your data must be accurate. It must also be certified by international data certification agencies, so that your data would have international recognition. And it is only when that is done that investors all over the world will not think twice before coming into your environment to invest. And yes, you said it's very expensive. I agree with you, it's a very expensive thing. In actual fact, in the year 2024 budget proposal that we submitted, we put about 200 billion. We asked for 200 billion for exploration. And that is data gathering. But because of the paucity of funds generally across board, we couldn't get anything anywhere near that at all. So, in our own lexicology, there is nothing like impossibility. So we put our own creative endeavor into motion. And we are adopting other strategies to secure funding. One of which is a PPP arrangement. In South Africa, I met some companies and I spoke to them, and they are ready and willing to come to us and arrange a PPP project, such that they will put counterpart funding or funding, and then Nigeria can put something as a counterpart funding. That is not the only strategy. There are other avenues that we are exploring, even as equity participation project, where we can attract the geoscientific gathering authorities and agencies in the world who have global reputation to come and map out Nigeria, and then we enter into equity sharing arrangement rather than us looking for all the dollars or the millions of dollars. Then we can assign them a few sites as our equity in the project. So there are so many ways to skin a cat, and we are looking at all these possibilities because we must gather the big efficient data. The second question relates to minerals. Somebody asked, how do we sort out or identify the minerals that are actually being taken out of Nigeria? That was one big challenge that we met on ground. And we are able to put in place initiatives to surmount that challenge. In fact, when I was in Australia at the African Down Under annual mineral conference, and you know Australia is a big mining country, I was told there that our own lithium in Nigeria is one of the highest qualities, one of the highest grades in the world. Not only that, it's also associated with nickel, with copper. So when you take a rock or an ounce of our lithium, you are not just taking lithium away, you are also taking nickel, you are also taking copper. So we now devised what we call testing centers. My ministry has embarked on the establishment of testing centers. We had one or two before, but grossly inadequate to curtail these very, very rampant practice of operators who would under-declare or not even declare the associated minerals they are taking out. So with the establishment of these testing centers, we are working in conjunction with the customs. I've been having discussions with the customs, with the security, the various security agencies on ways and means of actually controlling and ensuring that only the declared minerals are taken out of Nigeria. And we've been saving a lot of money for this country in the process. The third one is the EIA, the Environmental Impact Assessment, that the operators who engage in illegal activities. Now, when an operator is an illegal entity, of course, that operator does not go through the crucibles of regulatory framework. So, if he now, as we have discovered, a lot of connivance on illegal activities in the mining sector are conducted or operated by our host communities, by various categories of Nigerians. Of course, we say foreigners are involved. But no foreigner will come from any country outside Nigeria to come to your backyard without your active participation, connivance, collaboration, and conspiracy. So when we are looking at all of these issues, we should look at them holistically. It is not just enough for government to muster the energy, the security personnel, inject the technologies, without the change of mindset by every one of us. The individuals are involved. It cuts across all elites, traditional rulers, legislature, executive, judiciary, you name it, including the media. Everybody is in one way or the other guilty. So we need a national orientation. We need a restructuring of our mindset to be able to combat some of these things. Yes, in the environmental degradation, we have regulations. Any operator that is licensed by our ministry must submit an EIA report, which is the Environmental Impact Assessment Report, before he is approved. It is only the illegal operators who don't go through this regulatory framework that engage in the conduct of illegal operations and, of course, degrading the environment with the active connivance of the host communities. So we are combating that with our Mines Inspectorate Division. We have what is called the Environmental Impact Assessment Department in the ministry that we created to monitor all of this. In fact, at the last count, a few weeks ago, I got a report. We have over 1,000 pits, over 1,000 abandoned mining pits across Nigeria. Of course, delving into history, we discovered that most of these abandoned pits were abandoned by the mining colonialists in the past, especially in the northern part, in the plateau area, just tin mining and all that. All those ones that were abandoned by the colonialists are still there, constituting environmental degradation and danger. And we have, of course, itemized them. We took an inventory of them, and we are embarking on what we call remedial efforts or remediation, either covering up the pits or converting the pits into more constructive uses, like pools, like water conservation, for irrigation and all of that. So we are converting all of these things, and we are battling the environmental degradation. And henceforth, if you must know, nobody under my watch will be approved to mine without a critical plan for remediation efforts after the mining. Now, the last question concerns security. My friend Bayo from AIT mentioned security, which is also another very critical item on our agenda, combating insecurity. And I did mention in my remarks that insecurity associated with minerals is not peculiar to Nigeria. But we know that anything Nigerian has a gargantuan dimension. That is why our own dimension becomes quite critical and very worrisome. And so, on assumption of office, I made serious, strenuous representation to Mr. President, and not just me, the Minister of Environment, the Minister of Marine Economy, because we noticed a lot of leakages and pilferages in all of these sectors. And the President set up an interministerial committee on securing our natural resources. These natural resources comprise mineral sector, the forest resources, and the marine economy. And this interministerial committee is chaired by me, and we have, in fact, some of my members are here, the ministers of defense. They are members of that interministerial committee, and the Minister of Environment as well. So we got to work, and we subpoenaed all the security agencies, the chiefs of staffs and everybody. We had meetings, and we gave a directive that we needed to put in place a new security architecture to combat all of these illegalities and, terrorism, banditry, anything nefarious associated with the sector. And of course, the work of that committee is still on. However, with peculiar nature of our own solid mineral sector, we couldn't wait. So again, I sought the permission of Mr. President and got an approval to create what we now call the Mines Marshals. And in conjunction and collaboration with the Minister of Interior, I was able to secure over 2,000 strong men from the Civil Defense Corps. And we turned them over to the military. Our ministers are here. They helped us to train them and kit them, gave them the real skills to combat all the activities that we believe are untoward in our sector. And if you all recall, a few weeks ago, I unveiled these mine marshals to the public. Today, we have a minimum of about 60 in each state. Not only that, they are well kitted. And we are looking at the other agencies to increase the number. Not only that, we are also injecting a large dose of technology. We are acquiring satellite surveillance to enable us monitor all activities on every mining site in this country, real time, so that we can quickly mobilize and deploy these highly dynamic and mobile mine marshals to combat or stem whatever illegal activities. Today, I'm happy to announce to you that just within some few weeks of operation, the mines marshals have been able to apprehend over 100 or 200 operators, illegal operators in the country. And as we speak here, over 133 of such people are undergoing prosecution right now. And in fact, only about a week ago, 2 foreign nationals were jailed as a result of conducting illegal operation. These were things that never happened a year ago, and they are happening now. And that is to tell you that our renewed hope agenda is working and it will continue to work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much for that personal question. Yes, I had been threatened because I've revoked so many licenses of powerful people. But the point is this issue is beyond me as an individual. If I'm removed today, somebody else will come there and do more, because we have established the structure and we have really given the direction. And our vision is that when we would have left, Nigerians would have become so used to a higher standard of governance delivery, they will not brook anything lower than that. I am very safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. May we now invite the Honorable Minister of Defense to respond to questions being asked as to what he's been doing.
I can tell you, my senior brother is really very safe. Well, the question is on the withdrawal of troops from Niger, French troops from Niger. If there are gaps or if we are concerned. The two questions are the same. First of all, the government of Niger decided to ask them to leave. A responsible government will not ask troops to leave unless they have alternative. And that is our consolation, that we believe they asked them to leave because they have other alternatives that they believe might be more efficient for them to work with.
Nigerians would have become so used to a higher standard of governance delivery, they will not brook anything lower than that. I am very safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. May we now invite the Honorable Minister of Defense to
for that, and we have to continue to work together to see that security is enhanced in the region. So we are not concerned. We don't see any gap because we have absolute trust that they have alternative and they have reason for doing what they do. And in an issue of maybe people will ask, what is our relationship with Niger today? It's cordial. Most of the soldiers there have worked or studied at one point or the other with our own military. So they are in constant touch with them. CJ Musa know almost all of them. At one time or the other, they have met in a course or in a study or in a joint task force and share ideas. Some of them even studied in Nigeria. So we have that for 6 of this month. Sharing the intelligence that we have with the Nigerian authority, one very terrible bandit, Bello Medaji, was arrested in Niger. So that to show that we are working together and we are not really deeply concerned with the situation of the withdrawal or non-withdrawal or whatever troops are in Niger. On the issue of oil theft and the destruction of boats, yes. The Navy are concerned with destruction of boats that are carrying cargo. So they have changed to offload the cargo before they destroy the boats. Because those boats are there and are many and are causing havoc. I think we destroy a lot from the statistics I read. There is no way to keep them. So we just, and you arrest nobody, so you cannot even prosecute. So you just destroy the boats, take out the oil that is there. I read the full of the full report that I have. I could have told you how many liters of crude oil we recovered from those operations. But we are circulating the complete report, and I think you will see from there that we are taking the oil. We are not destroying the boats with the oil inside. We are very, very much aware with the environmental situation in the Niger Delta, and the Navy is really concerned with the environmental situation in the Niger Delta. And I think it's even because of the environmental situation that in some cases we see bandits that we see oil thieves that we can bomb, but we prepare to arrest them or chase them out so that we don't bomb and destroy the environment. I think those are the two questions that I have, and I want to re-emphasize the issue raised on the mining security. We are all on it, and we are working tirelessly together to make sure that we secure the mining sites and prevent illegal mining. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister of Defense. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at this time I would like to invite the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, the indefatigable Honorable Minister. He gives us the closing remark.
Thank you very much, distinguished members of the media. We thank you for your patience. And like I said, this is just the beginning. We have received briefings from 7 ministers today. About 11 ministers were here, but we received briefings from 7 ministers. And one thing I also want us to emphasize is the synergy that you're also seeing between ministers and ministers of state. All the ministers that have come here with their ministers of state are here to support them. We thank the Honorable Minister of State for Defense, Dr. Bello Matawale, for supporting the Minister of Defense. We also thank the Chief of Defense Staff. If you think that what is happening here is only political, the actors are also here represented by the Chief of Defense Staff. And I want to say that tomorrow we take these briefings. We don't want to waste much of your time because we know that we have to go and file your reports. But thank you for your patriotism. Thank you for coming. But please, I will leave you with this last word. Report responsibly, honestly, in the interest of our great country. Thank you very much. Tomorrow, 9:30, please. You have to have the national anthem before you go. National anthem first, please, before you go, please. Thank you. National anthem. Thank you.